but there they don't sit down with you and eat. They are there just to serve you. And then once you're finished eating, then it's time to go. And you don't want to linger too long after you eat because they haven't eaten yet. And they wait till you leave till they have their dinner.
You're spending 5 minutes with a missionary. This podcast is a window into missionary life. It's fun, it's personal, it's real, and it's always an adventure. During Season 2, LCMS missionaries serving around the globe talk about getting to know people where they live. Today we'll hear from Pastor Stephen Mahlburg. He serves as the LCMS Mission Manager in Sri Lanka.
One of my first trips to the upcountry, where most of our church partner is located, it's in the mountainous areas in the central part of Sri Lanka, I met with the pastors and evangelist. And after that meeting, one of the evangelists, Ruprakash, invited me and my family to his home that evening. It was his birthday, so we were invited to be part of that birthday celebration. Now, he lives on one of the tea plantations, so we get a ride out there. And then we have to sort of climb up the side of this mountain. I mean, it wasn't too far, but it was steep and not the typical way you would normally think of getting to somebody's home. But we got there, and it was a nice place. It overlooked actually where the church was in that community. And we were taken into the living room, and everyone else was off busy in the kitchen and so forth. And Ruprakash came out and he showed us this book that were like from previous birthdays. And they all showed him with a piece of cake and throughout these things. And I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Well, then it came time to sing happy birthday to him. And they lit the candle on this cake. Well, there was several candles, and the topper with the candles around started to spin around and play happy birthday. It was kind of spectacular, something I'd not seen before. But then when that was done, we sang happy birthday. Then people would come up, starting with his parents, and they would cut a little piece of the cake, and they would come up to him, and they would feed it to him. And as they're putting it in his mouth, that's when people took pictures. So that book showing him with the cake and all those pictures were people feeding him cake. So the tradition is on your birthday that people feed you cake. And even I was invited to go up and feed him cake as well. Well, that was pretty interesting. And then they brought out the food for dinner. And they set that all out on the table there and had us go and fill our plates and eat. But nobody else ate. Everybody else was either off in the kitchen or looking to see if we needed something, maybe some extra food or extra drink or something like that. And then when we were finished eating, it was time to go. So we learned that the tradition there, you're invited to somebody's home, whether it be for a birthday or a meal, you start out with conversation. And this is where you get to know people, you talk to them, and they talk to you. And there's really not supposed to be any kind of business talked about at this time either. So it's just a getting to know the person. And then, because you're the guest, they are there to serve you, which is different, of course, than what we're used to, where we would have everybody sit down together. Maybe you might have some people running in and out of the kitchen, but there, they don't sit down with you and eat. They are there just to serve you. And then once you're finished eating, then it's time to go. And you don't want to linger too long after you eat because they haven't eaten yet. And they wait till you leave till they have their dinner. So that's one way you get to know people, and especially if you're invited over to somebody's home in Sri Lanka.
Thanks for spending 5 minutes with the missionary. To learn more about Stephen and his wife Martha, go to lcms.org/Mahlburg. You can also sign up for their newsletter using the link in the show notes. You can find this podcast on kfuo.org/missionary podcast or anywhere you get your podcasts. Have you ever thought about serving as a missionary? Reach out to mission.recruitment@lcms.org to learn more.